three of us, Mr. Nevinson, Jessie and I, were hearing this death flute at Hou de Ries, and there was panic. Jessie was obviously frightened at what she was hearing. Flute music without flute player. And Mrs. Nevinson at what she was not hearing. And then suddenly it stopped. Mr. Nevinson largely kept his calm, and I tried to keep mine all during this experience, which I've come to call
My bones and my flute.
Mrs. Nevinson was saying, "Ralph, what do you mean? Don't you think you owe me some explanation for this peculiar behavior?" There was a hurt note in her voice. At another time, Mr. Nevinson would have been immediately repentant, but he was too deeply upset now to be himself. He returned,
Yes, I know. I admit that. But I'm still asking you to go to your room. Tomorrow we'll discuss everything. Allow me to judge the wisdom of postponing all explanations until tomorrow.
Firmly as he spoke, however, Mrs. Nevinson would not yield to this ruling. She is a lady of much fire and not to be easily put off. "But what's the mystery about?" she said. "Am I to understand that this cottage is haunted? Surely you can't expect me to go back to bed with the knowledge that there's something wrong in the place. It's unreasonable of you." Jessie added with a rather wild note, "Yes, Daddy, you've got to tell us. I'm not remaining in this house another night if there's something queer in it. I'll pack my things and go back to town by the steamer in the morning." Her father smiled. His calm amazed me. "You and your mother are such an excitable pair. Just try to think before you make wild suggestions, please. Is this the first time you've heard that flute? Didn't you hear it today on the steamer? And also for the past week or two at home in New Amsterdam? Then why should you want to run out of this cottage and go back to town? Do you think that would help the situation?" "But what's causing it, then? Who's playing it? It woke me, and I'm sure it was in this very room. And yet I couldn't see anyone playing it. I'm frightened. I don't like this thing at all."
Very well, very well. I myself am alarmed. But I'm trying to keep my wits about me. You do the same. Milton, too, has heard it, and I don't hear him raving." He glanced at me. "You heard it, didn't you, Milton? Distantly, I suppose." "Yes, it came from upstream at first, then downstream." "But how can that be, Daddy? If it was the same flute playing, how could Milton have heard it far off while you and I heard it in here?" Mrs. Nevinson, who had been glancing in complete perplexity from one to the other of us, broke out, "Really, this is getting beyond me. What are you talking about? What flute playing is this? Jessie, do you seriously mean to say that you heard a flute being played in this house a few minutes ago? In this sitting room here?" "Of course, Mother. As plainly as I can hear you speaking. It's the same flute I've been hearing at home for days now. And remember I told you I heard it today on the steamer?" Her father held up his hand. "Very well. I can see it's no use. We'll have to thresh the matter out on the spot. Put that lamp under the table there, Jessie, and both you and your mother sit down. Ralph, you seem to be taking this affair very casually. If there's any truth in what you say about this flute, then this place must be haunted. Or at least the three of you must be haunted." She couldn't repress a splutter of mirth. Her husband smiled. "If nothing else, we ought to be thankful for your sense of humor, Nell. Come along, get seated. Milton, take this chair." That was one of the oddest scenes in my experience. The lamp standing where Jessie had placed it, on the low green-topped table with chromium legs, cast its yellow rays in our faces with a sickly uncertainty as we crouched forward in our chairs, seated in a circle like people round a campfire or a seance table. A stack of old magazines, the Strand and Pearson's, the Connoisseur,
lay on the table beside the lamp, and their combined shadows made a frayed rhombus on the front of Mr. Nevenson's pyjama jacket. While Mr. Nevinson explained to his wife and Jessie the theory about the manuscript and its connection with this spectral flute, I kept glancing behind me often, noting our own shadows on the walls, huge and misshapen. I shuddered now and then, but not through fear of ghosts. It was of spiders, I kept thinking. Several times I could have sworn I saw a swift crawl of brown legs dart from one crooked shadow to another. Once Jessie started and uttered a gasp, and I saw her looking intently towards the door that gave on to the western veranda. We all turned our heads to follow her gaze, but she giggled and said that it was only a firefly. "It flashed on so suddenly it made me jump," she explained. She drew her gown more closely about her, and at that instant we heard outside in the jungle the harsh, gruff bark of the baboons, and the scent of dark water and vegetation swirled into the room as though some unseen presence had breathed it in at the open windows. Somehow there was a silence, and we began to look about us, listening to the sucking murmur of the river. The very lamp and the table had an expectant air. Mr. Nevinson laughed softly and said, "We're letting ourselves in for the jitters now." And he resumed what he had been saying to his wife and daughter. Mrs. Nevinson, as I had expected, was incredulous and inclined to be outright derisive. She pronounced the whole tale to be absolutely absurd. "It isn't feasible, Ralph. Who do you expect to believe a thing like that? How could a mere silly slip of paper cause you to hear a ghostly flute? It's childish. And where's this manuscript? Why don't you let me touch it too, and see if I can hear it?" Her husband shook his head. "I'm sorry. Not another mortal will lay his hand upon it if I can help it." His wife laughed, throwing her head far back and stamping on the floor like a small girl. "Oh, but Ralph, my dear, you speak so gravely. What's come over you? Since when have you turned as superstitious as this? And you too, Milton, a learned philosopher like you, believing in such nonsense. I'm ashamed of you." "But, Mrs. Nevy, you seem to forget the evidence." "Oh, blow the evidence. I'm sure there must be some natural explanation, boy. Somebody is trying to hoax you, can't you see?" Mr. Nevinson did not attempt to argue. He rose. "Very well, my dear. I'm sure you're at liberty to hold whatever views you wish. In fact, I don't blame—" He broke off. There was a knock on the kitchen door. Jessie started. Event kept piling upon event. There's more to tell, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you all of it. The story of my bones and my flute.